Hey everybody, it's Mama. Welcome back to Mama's Odi Tarot. So today we are doing a past life reading on Hailey Bieber. I know a lot of people wanted me to do this. I definitely see off the bat she was a masculine in this life, so we'll refer to them as they just so that we don't get stressed out with the he, she thing. Just know Hailey Bieber was a masculine in this life, and I will be referring to them as they for the video just to make it simple. But let's jump right in and not waste any time. I started with Hailey Bieber's soul's archetype. So we have thief. I didn't even see. Oh, I didn't even see Knight was behind that. Knight, thief. That's crazy. So this is wow. Gambler in reverse, mediator in reverse, and beggar that came out in reverse. So listen, y'all. Beggar on the shadow side, it says dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. So on a soul level, she's very dependent. Her soul is a very dependent soul. She doesn't know how to just stand up for herself, do things on her own. Like on a really spiritual level, she has a hard time with taking care of her own self to make sure that she's responsible for her own survival. So she has like basically low self-esteem and low self-agency and self-awareness on a soul level. Interesting. We also have mediator that comes out in reverse. So on the shadow attribute that says negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. So we know she has the gift for gab with talking and convincing people to do things and negotiate and have stuff go her way. But that usually comes with an ulterior motive, a hidden agenda, where she's trying to be self-serving and have things, strong arm people basically and get things to work out in her favor. Most importantly, we also have gambler coming out in reverse. So basically saying that her life on a soul level is always reliant on luck. Literally on a soul level, it's just going to depend on how lucky she is, whether or not she has a good time or a bad time. Like she's not really putting in effort and hard work. She's really just dependent on getting lucky and things just working out in her favor. So that's crazy. I didn't even know there could be souls like this, but it makes sense, Not everybody soul is designated here to necessarily, I guess, be self-empowered and motivated intrinsically from the start. She's someone who has to struggle and work hard to get that self-motivation and that agency to actually do what she want to do. We also have Knight and Thief. So both of these are love motivated, where she can be very romantic and be love focused and love motivated. The Thief card came out when I did her reading with the Kardashians. And I was talking about how she tends to look at them as, and with an envy or a jealousy, feeling like they had certain things that she just don't have, like they got something that money can't buy. They have an aura about them and she don't. So with this thief, on a soul level, she literally is a Robin Hood, okay? So she could be the Robin Hood who's stealing from the rich to give to the poor, or she could be the opposite here. This is telling me where it's like she's stealing from whoever to get what she want to get. But definitely has a lot of romantic qualities, which could either be destructive or good. Like she could be real delusional when it comes to romance at times. I feel like in terms of her soul. And she sometimes steals other people's ideas, or she forces people to give in her affection too, forcing her way into people's lives and getting them to want to love her and force them to be with her and do things for her, classic things that we see going on in her current life. So she's like that on a soul level where she feels inadequate. So she's always, forcing her way into people's hearts and forcing her way into people's minds. Okay, so let's see about in this past life that we're looking into when she was this guy. See, I even wanted to say he. All right, when they were this guy. All right, so we have king, child wounded, athlete, and addict. So they were a big, strong guy, weren't they? Hailey Bieber. And with this king definitely attached to some very powerful, strong people. Definitely was part of the people that was in charge. Her family was high up there. And with this child wounded and addict, it makes me feel like she could afford to pretty much do whatever she wanted to do, hang out, party, do drugs, have fun, get addicted to certain things. Like she literally got to pretty much do whatever she wanted to do and not really acknowledge all of her bad behavior and the way that she possibly was harming people when she was this male. Definitely, like I said, with the athlete, was athletic and had a nice body and was good looking. You see how this person looks like pretty much a bodybuilder. She could have, they could have literally been a bodybuilder in this life, but definitely had a strong body and a strong willpower in terms of controlling other people. That's what I feel like. Taking advantage of people's vulnerableness and being really selfish and being egotistical and being entitled pretty much. So yeah, and I think that obviously in whatever this life was, Hailey Bieber was a ruler, so they got to pretty much do whatever they wanted. Because if you're a king and you're a ruler and you're in charge, then you don't have to listen to anybody else. You can do what you want. And then lastly, we have child wounded. So lots of dysfunctional relationships, I would say, possibly abuse going on in the childhood in the household. Because if you're a tyrant, then you probably learned it from your dad, who was a tyrant before that. So I feel like he was dealing with negative emotions concerning childhood wounds that he had never processed and dealt with. So this is what they were going through, Hailey Bieber. It says, awakens compassion and desire to serve others, wounded children, to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. So Hailey Bieber, as this guy, was struggling with forgiveness and struggling with learning from all of the, it's like, Chiron, wounded healer type energy. He was struggling to overcome a lot of those wounds that he dealt with in childhood and understand how he could use those wounds to help other people and be kind and compassionate as opposed to, a tyrant and a bigot. So let's go ahead and continue and see the soul contracts and karmic wounds that Hailey Bieber came into this past life with. Divine embrace, divine contract, and universal harmony. So basically, they had a sacred contract, confirmation, to come back and fulfill, a higher purpose in terms of God. Like God sent Hailey Bieber here to pretty much bring his healing energy to the world, which is divine embrace. He was supposed to be opening himself up to love and healing the world, and then bringing the world back into some sort of balance here with this universal harmony. It's like he was supposed to be one of the good guys. He was supposed to be one of the good guys who was bringing back karmic justice. And so he was one of, God's angels. And I don't know, we'll see by the end whether or not he fulfilled his contract. But as far as what I could see, Hailey Bieber was supposed to be bringing back peace and order and restoring balance, to the world. And this was all dependent on whatever life choices that he made. And interestingly, what I always say about divine contract, like when you have a soul contract, when you have a divine contract, it is what it is. No matter what, that's what you're destined to do. And that's what you're signed up here to do. Like, you can't change it. You can't write new, add nothing, remove nothing. No, that's just what you're supposed to be here to do. Whether or not you choose to fulfill it and you choose to get in, line with it, that's up to you. But it's never going to change, and nobody's really going to be able to take it away from you in terms of what your mission here is. Nobody can, take God's, calling on your life away from you. So I just wanted to say that. But we also have fresh start, caring, connection, be present, and release in terms of the karmic lessons that Hailey Bieber came into this life with. So basically, from a previous life, things had been rough with this fresh start. Like, so he was being given to pretty much start over and get a new life and really, go down the road that he was supposed to go down. His soul was supposed to go down. They had experienced the care and connection. I'm sorry, I keep accidentally saying he, she, they, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. Hailey Bieber experienced the caring connection in a previous life before this one that they were going to get to come back and engage in. It says a new supportive relationship is on the horizon. It might be a kindred spirit or possibly even romance. It could be someone new or the deepening of an existing relationship. Open your heart to this new connection. So because they never got to have that open caring connection fully with that person before, Hailey Bieber was being given a chance to meet back with this same person and meet that kindred spirit and have that connection with them and deepen their bond and their relationship. And they were supposed to be present because they were dealing with karmic wounds surrounding really being present in the moment and staying stuck in their head and overthinking and always retreating to their mind and not really doing what it is that they wanted to do. It was all about them starting to fully live their life and release the past and get this fresh start and release coming here. So any toxic people, patterns, situations, anything from their past life that they have been dealing with, which we know they were dealing with, God was giving them a chance to pretty much have a total clean slate, start over, be present in the moment, and choose this love, this relationship, and make the best of this divine embrace and this healing, loving bond and relationship and life that Hailey Bieber was supposed to live. All right, so let's see about the who, what, where, when, why. You know, we got to see the location, the personality, all of that good stuff. So we got vows, Atlantic, spirituality and religion, Celtic, and trees. So we know that family was really, really important. We know that she came from, a dynasty pretty much with some powerful people, a powerful family. And she was supposed to be retreating to a safe space here with this Celtic and focusing on her spirituality and her religion and not really being so in line with what the family business, right? And what her family was doing. They were definitely powerful. We know where Atlantis, they had money, they had riches, but this was, like I said, more about her bringing back a utopic society, bringing peace and harmony and balance and having this relationship and making this vow to her spirituality, her druid ancestry and her roots, and really connected with nature and being that divine spiritual person that he was supposed to be in his life. Okay. Let's see more. We got health concern, flying monkey, surprise, legal, and rich guy. So this tells me that, yeah, it was, I think with the health concern, he was kind of torn in between the two. You know, Hailey Bieber wasn't sure whether or not he was going to make good choices or make bad choices with this health concern and flying monkey. It's like they wanted to go out and start over and shock their family and be this spiritual person and really tap in with their gifts and all of that, but they didn't have the support, right? Like if your family is not into this and they're not doing this and you bring it up, it's going to come, of course, it's going to come as a shock or a surprise. It's going to be like, ooh, you know, what you're doing is witchcraft, or what you're doing is sick. Like, it's like his family was not into these, you know, Hailey Bieber's family was not into spirituality and into this type of thing. And so he was, you know, in between a rock and a hard place. And eventually I think that he chose to go down the, you know, the route that his family wanted him to go down and, you know, be a part of the legal, you know, become an authority figure and be this rich guy and be this ruler and be this king and be everything that was in line with his family, being in power and having that dynasty type of thing and having influence in society and being in charge. That's pretty much what he chose to do in order to make sure that he get his inheritance from his family, and he was treated fairly, as opposed to choosing this other route, which would have left him possibly, you know, with going through ups and downs. Like with this surprise, it's like he wasn't sure. You know, when you like we said, he was an overthinker. So when you overthink and you think, oh, these people, you know, it says no hate on this card. These people might hate me. They might treat me bad. They might be resistant to me. They might not want to be around me. I might get shunned from the family. So it was like he just put that all away with this flying monkey and was like, that's foolish stuff and I shouldn't be involved in it. And I'm just going to be this, you know, legal rich guy involved with, you know, being a king. And that's it. And put all of my spiritual gifts and psychic gifts and everything about my religious and spiritual nature, I'm going to put it to the past. Wow. Just forget about it. Let's see about his personality. Okay, so we have retail therapy guru, mansplainer extraordinaire, meal prep mastermind, and autocorrect victim. So with this retail therapy guru, it's like, of course, he liked to spend money, he liked to shop, he liked to enjoy himself, have a good time. You know, I do see the the Nine of Pentacles here. So it's all about enjoying the fruits of his labor and that self-sufficiency and enjoying his rewards. Like on a soul level, we're not gonna lie, Hailey Bieber love to shop. She loves to look good. She loves to smell good. She loves being a socialite. Like she does enjoy that part of her personality. But I feel like in this life, he was torn. Like I said, he was just constantly going between the two, because it's like with this meal prep mastermind and autocorrect victim, he knew that it goes back to that surprise and that shock where he knew that this was going to be something that was not going to be received well, and he was going to deal with persecution and ridicule by his family, by his friends, by the people around him. And that, of course, that wasn't expected from his family and in terms of his society and where he was going. So he chose not to do it, and he chose to be this mansplainer extraordinaire and retail therapy guru. But they're making it clear that there was a duality to Hailey Bieber's personality in this life, where always in the back of his mind, this is who he truly was supposed to be and was destined to be and desired to be. But on the forefront, instead, he had to be this bullhorn, promoting the agenda, you know, just being this socialite, being this money, this rich guy. Like, that's just what he had to do. He probably did like to eat clean with this meal prep mastermind. And I don't know if he was like literally just into cooking and like to, cook his own meals and make his own food and things like that. Could have been more outspoken, definitely a loud person, not quiet. It's giving Aries moon vibes. That's Aries moons. Well, I'm Aries moon sidereally, but we be loud. Okay. But yeah, he could have had some Aries placements out there, some fire placements for sure. And I think that he was a bold person. He was ahead of, he was like the leader of the pack, because now I'm hearing literally queening out of deck. So, but yeah, he was like the queen pretty much, but not in this life. She was a king, but the king of the pack, and everybody listened to him. Like he was like the popular dude in school, the popular kid, the popular guy. Everybody followed his way and listened to him and did what he said. So he was like a trendsetter pretty much. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Our next act's about, of course, the childhood to young adult years. What was his childhood to young adult years like? So a lot came out. We have concern, rich girl. Oh wait, this actually, I had it like this, so it came out this way. So let's do it. Unexpected money, love spell, trusted, achievement, enamor, relationship, concern, and a rich girl. So pretty much he spent his childhood to adult years constantly being groomed into being this, this king that he was going to be, and taking over the throne and following in his father's footsteps and getting this inheritance and having all this money and just everything of that sort, like inheriting that lifestyle. And I think that with this love spell and trusted, he pretty much knew that everything in his life was designed and set up for him. Like Hailey Bieber knew there was no, I'm going to pick my lover, I'm going to pick what I want to do in life. Like everything was controlled by their family and what it is that they were supposed to do. So they know that the marriage, they knew that their marriage was going to be arranged. Like Hailey Bieber knew that there was no doing what they wanted to do with this trusted here. They could never trust in their own gut and do what their intuition was telling them to do, because everything was about being this guy, having this achievement and making his family proud, making him happy, marrying the woman that they wanted him to marry, having this relationship. And it's like they were always talking to him about these things. And I feel like he was the golden child with this enamored here, where everybody doted him over him and loved him and took care of him and bought him gifts. And, he was just that kid that everybody treated well, and he listened, he behaved, he did what he was told. Like he didn't really rebel as much as this was, in the back of his mind. He just did exactly what was told. And like with this concern here, it's like his parents was always over his back. Like he just knew that there was going to come a time where he was going to have to marry this rich girl, have this relationship, and be this king and be this authority figure and have this achievement, and that was all that was going to be for his life. Nothing else that he really cared about and wanted was going to be a part of his life. And his family was making this known to him throughout his childhood to young adult years. Like, yeah, he got treated well, but like I said, he was a good kid. Probably made grade A's, always was, just the good child, the golden child, never made no mistakes or could do any wrong. And so that's why he chose not to make his parents upset or change anything about how they viewed him. He just always wanted to still be golden in their eyes. So he chose to just marry the woman and do what they said. So it feels like by the time of his young adult years, it was already set up. He was already in a relationship with the woman. Like that, he was set up to be the rich girl. Like it was already all set up. Wow. Like he was already courting her and dating her and in a relationship from the time of his young adult years. All right, let's see about his adult, his adult years and everything. What was that like? And then we'll see, what was his relationship and marriage and love like after. What was his adult years like? Okay, we got the Temperance, the Queen of Pentacles, the Nine of Cups, the Eight of Wands, the Seven of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the the Page of Swords, and the Two of Cups. Okay, so basically his adult years was like I said, it was already set up and orchestrated for him. With this Temperance, it goes back to that concern. Like it was just him waiting, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to have to do this. But he already knew what his job was set up to be from young, and his mom had already decided, this is who you're supposed to be. And I think that with this Temperance, it feels like either his father got old or he passed away, whatever the case may be. And he was left, to provide for his mom with this Queen of Pentacles and take care of her and make sure that she was good, step into that role. And he always wanted to keep her happy and make sure that she was abundant and prosperous and everything was good and that she got all of her dreams come true and which come true. And they just stayed in high honor and had this, all of this power and influence that they had. So in his adult years, he pretty much just stepped into his role and did what he was told. And with this Eight of Wands, it feels like it happened really quickly. And even though there was he was sad and there was a lack of purpose with the Seven of Cups coming out in reverse, and he felt like, it was an illusion and he wasn't doing what really made him happy, he did not want to be left out in the cold financially. That's what he was always worried about with this Five of Cups, his money, all of that stuff. And so it was like pretty much, like I said, do or die now, where he had to make a choice on whether he would just continue to live in this illusion or whether he was going to allow himself to be, quote unquote, left out in the cold, even though God wasn't going to leave him out in the cold. He just thought that. Hailey Bieber just thought that everything wasn't going to be worked out, although God was going to take care of them. But because they didn't believe and they was afraid and they didn't have no mentorship, they didn't have no support, they didn't have nobody telling them that everything was going to be good. So they didn't do it. And in the end, they ended up in with this Page of Swords and Two of Cups, they ended up in a partnership that was unloving, pretty much. You could say there was just a lot of deception and lies involved with it. Excuse me, because it's like this is not the person that he really wanted to be with. He possibly was going behind her back to deal with the woman that he truly wanted to be with. With this Page of Swords here, I feel like there was just a lot of lies, right? And things like that when it came to their relationship, where he wasn't fully being truthful and honest with this woman about the fact that he didn't really want to be with her. He was just settling for her because that is what his family wanted. And like I said, I feel like, was going behind her back, still having conversation and trying to deal with the person that they really wanted to be with, or at least just dealing with other women for the sake of doing it because they weren't happy. And we know that they had an addiction because addiction came out. So, imagine you gambler came out, gambling, drinking, doing drugs, sleeping with prostitutes. Like this is what Hailey Bieber was doing. All right. We also have travel, evil eye, emotional pain, family, and child. Wow. This is really unfortunate. So it's like, yes, he continued to move forward with this travel, but there was a lot of evil eye and emotional pain behind having a family, having children. Like all of this made him very, very unhappy. He was not happy with the life that he was living, the family that he had, the children. None of it made him happy. And then what is this about the child here? Because I would like to know, because there might have been issues here involving having children. What's this about the child? Was there issues conceiving? We have single, sexy, and successful, starseed, actual money, priestess, false narrative, and gift. So basically what this is saying is that, oh God, it's really given like, yeah, he was sleeping around, he was spending out the money, he was gambling, he was doing all of this other stuff that he didn't want to do. And with this starseed, sleeping with other women that he felt like had, I guess, a nicer body or looked better. I don't know. It just feels like he ended up with somebody that he wasn't really even really attracted to. He didn't like it was just a lot of it being real unhappy. And so he was sleeping with other women and doing things with other, women. And these women were using their psychic gifts to do things to the woman, to, mess with her womb and have her go through certain issues. Because he was pillow talking, gossiping, like I said, with the Page of Swords that came out. He's over there pillow talking and gossiping with the other women that he's sleeping with, and they're pretty much sending evil eye, doing all these things to stop her from really having a family. So she was having a hard time conceiving a child. She was having a hard time with her weight. There was all type of spell work and evil eye being sent towards her and done on her, like the woman that he was married to. All right, let's see about the, more about the relationship. What was going on in the house, what was going on at home with the family, because we know that, he was annoyed because he couldn't get to have, children with her, and things weren't going right in terms of that. And she was stressed because there was a lot of things that he was doing, sleeping with other women and all that. But I don't know, he might have been impotent because I don't see that the other woman was having any children. But I just see with the false narrative and gift that they was thinking that it was her and trying to tell him that it's her. But with this false narrative, that was possibly a lie. And he was the one that was impotent and the reason why they couldn't have no children. But let's see what was going on in the house. We have the Moon, the Ace of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the King of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Pillow talking about her behind her back, using his wand, sleeping with other women. This is a lot he was doing behind her back. A lot of lies with this moon here. Yes, he was juggling her, sleeping with other women. That is so sad. That is really, really sad. With just, I was about to say Justin. What I guess what she was doing to Justin. But yeah, this is what Hailey was doing, sleeping around. And the worst part about it is, with all of these new people that they were sleeping around and doing stuff, they were pillow talking. They were pillow talking. That's the worst part with this King of Swords in reverse, telling lies. It said deliberate cruelty, violent person, no direction, and unpredictability. So this was unpredictable when it came to who he was sleeping with. He was weighing his options, okay. And then we have the two of Pentacles here, so he probably liked both men and women, just really doing whatever it is that he want to do, because we know that there was a lot of unexpected drama involved with this. All right, a lot. I'm looking at these dogs here, and he was trying to let certain sleeping dogs lie, but he was doing some real dark stuff behind this woman's, behind his wife's back, who I feel like was Justin. But oh my God, that's messed up. That's what was going on in the house, just like, and then always being cruel, always being nasty, like I said, possibly physically abusing his wife, like just being a real horrible person, beating on her, because it's like, why you ain't having no children? We got this could be the one, because this I next asked, was this Justin? Did she have a karmic relationship with Justin? Yeah, this could be the one in coming out upright. It is safe for you to love, coming out of reverse, worth waiting for, engagement, and heart to heart conversations. So yeah, yes, and it was like um oh, I see what was going on here. So yes, there was a karmic connection between Hailey as a man in this past life and Justin. But like I said, this was the person that they was meeting with in secret, with the engagement and heart to heart conversations. This is who Hailey was meeting up with behind his wife's back. Like, this is who he was meeting up with, Justin, so that they could, because that's who he felt like was the one. But it wasn't safe for them to have this relationship where it is safe to love, coming out in reverse. And with this worth waiting for, he didn't care. He felt like it was worth waiting for. That divine timing was at play. It was worth sneaking off from his wife and doing all of this stuff that he was doing to go have this relationship behind closed doors with Justin, where they could have these heart to heart conversations, and they could be, sleeping together and be in love and all that stuff. But long term, I don't see that it worked out. I want to know the outcome. What was the outcome here for these two in a little secret affair? Love. We know they was in love, but what was the outcome between Justin and Hailey's secret affair? Oh God, they got rid of him. Yeah, they went ahead and got rid of him. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, they went ahead and got rid of him because I can't make it up, because he wasn't, of the same status, and they tried to make it seem like it was an accident. And remember I said in the one about Justin, that Justin was just trying to get their money up, get their life up, do the right thing, all that. But like I said, I feel like Justin was a man in was a woman in that past life. And so I don't know if it's the exact same life, you guys, but what I will tell you is that in this one, they was having secret meetups, okay? They was secretly meeting up together because they was in love, and they was doing it in secret, hidden behind closed doors. But Hailey Bieber had a wife, obviously was a man and had a wife, and was not supposed to be having a relationship with Justin. And for some reason, I don't know if they worked together or if this was like, like I said, Justin did eventually became attached to the CULT and attached to that stuff. So I don't know if they found out about it or they knew, or whatever the case may be, but this was, they definitely made it seem like it was an accident, and covered it up. But they definitely was responsible for Justin getting up off the earth plane in this life, because they didn't want him here. It was involving money. It was all about money. It was about greed and finances and all of that nasty, dark, ritualistic stuff that that they do. So that's why they got rid of Justin. So that was unfortunate. But I think that they possibly worked together and was having this secret affair while, working and doing things together. And that's how they was able to have these little secret meetups and have their little affairs and things like that behind Hailey Bieber wife back and stuff like that. But I think, like I said, eventually they got rid of Justin, and that was unfortunate. But let's go ahead and continue and see about the death and the death and the energy leading up to it, and whether or not Hailey Bieber fulfilled his contract. in this past life. So let's see the death and the energy leading up to it. Maybe we should move some of these and do it like this. All right, exactly. We have a fair neighborhood, so mountains, greed, outer space, perversion, desert, male, and drugs and poison. Oh, okay. So with Hailey Bieber, we know that in this life she was a male, and with this affair neighborhood and serial killer, it feels like they was responsible for a lot of people's endings. They was responsible for possibly their wife's ending in this life and certain things happening to them. And you know how karma works. All those things is going to eventually come back to bite you. All of the hedonistic, dark, greedy stuff, like I said, that you do, it's all going to, eventually come back to bite. And so this is what this was. This was her with this mountains here, like karma. You reap what you sow type thing. And it was time for, the DEVRL to come collect. And with this outer space perversion and desert, it's like the powers that be, somebody who was a secret enemy of his wanted him out of the picture, so it was someone who was hiding in the background watching as a hidden enemy, and they didn't know that this person wanted them, I guess, deserted, wanted to see them gone, wanted to see them hurt. And they ended up, targeting him. That's what I get with this serial killer and this male and drugs and poison. It could have literally been as a result of the fact that he was always, like I said, he was an addict. He was always doing drugs. He was always doing these type of things. So it could have just been a dealer that gave him something not so good, that eventually took him out. That's really what it feels like with drugs and poison being responsible for his ending. And like I said, I knew it. He was a male in his life. And I feel like there was another person that was a hidden enemy of his that wanted to see him gone. And so, yeah, whoever his dealer was, they got him some bad drugs or something. They got him to take some bad concoction so that he would be up out of there. And, hold up real quick. Because I do see outer space, but I'm looking at this greed and this mountains and this affair neighborhood and serial killer. Let me just clarify this real quick. Of who this person was to him. Because this was all about money and greed, but was it about life insurance? Because now I'm wondering, was it the wife? Who was this person to him that got rid of him? No, okay, no, I was right. This was an enemy that was hidden in plain sight. All right, somebody that he wasn't aware with these aliens. He didn't know that this person was secretly plotting against him and wanting to see him gone, and was a secret hidden enemy of his. Okay. Oh, well, I just heard it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, with this road, grandparent, and then give me one more. Couple. Okay, yeah. So it was it was a hired hit type thing with this grandparent and couple. So yeah, it was associated with his lover. I take that back. I thought that he was responsible for hitting. No, it's the opposite. His lover. That's why this was karma, and this was karmic retribution. Because you reap what you sow. You was out here doing all this bad stuff, harming other people, getting rid of people, and your own spouse is the one who poisoned you. And that's why it was a person that was a hidden enemy, that was hidden in plain sight. Because it's like he wasn't even aware that his wife was a part of this plot to get rid of him. Okay, this little old lady that he would have thought was so sweet. That he thought loved him and didn't know about all of the dark stuff that he was doing, and that he was hiding it all so well. And she was just a confused little sweet old lady who didn't know nothing. No, she was plotting. She was plotting on how she was going to secure her money and her finances. And so she was able to, it happened right at home. Right at home. So that's what this was. Like, there was multiple people involved in this. I'm telling you, as far as him, I don't know if it was that, the wife was talking with this other person and she was thinking about getting the serial killer. She tried that route. It didn't work. Whatever the case may be, in the end, his ass got poisoned somehow. And that's how he got the hell up out of here. Did he fulfill his contract? Ooh, family. Yeah, definitely. His wife and his family was involved in his wife, for sure. Did he fulfill his contract? Release your ex, romantic feelings, codependency, and calling in your soulmate? No. Because the contract was all about having a life with Justin. So no, they released their ex. Hailey released their ex. They never expressed those romantic feelings and called in a soulmate and did all that. They allowed their addictions, which is addictions are affecting your romantic life, to stop them from doing what it is that they were supposed to do in terms of having the love and the life that they were supposed to. Like, they was hooked on drugs. It was bad. So no, they did not fulfill their contract. So let's keep going. Our next, of course, asked, how did this affect her contract as Hailey Bieber and the karmic lessons that, she came into this life as Hailey Bieber with from this past life? So we have soul anchor, in stillness, heart contract, this one's turned around, and path of miracles. Okay, so basically with the heart contract, we know that she was going to meet back up with Justin. It's crazy. Every time I look at this card, every time this card come out, I'm like, dang, this card came out in Justin reading. This looked like Justin. It's crazy from a certain angle. If you just take a quick glance. But yeah. So yeah, she was supposed to meet back up with Justin and have this heart contract, have this contract with him again, and hopefully with this soul anchor and in stillness and paths of miracles, they saying that she would have got this right, being that it was, I feel like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity here, to be honest, with this path of miracles. It says the universe is laying out a path of miracles for you. Trust and follow it. So I really feel like this was a magical thing. Like, they're saying that this do not happen often. That you came right back into meeting this guy again. So this obviously was not that long ago. This don't feel, super duper ancient. This wasn't that long ago. And they're saying, it's a rarity that you get to come right back, and we're giving you the miracle to actually get one more chance again to do it right, even though part of you don't deserve it because of all of the ways that you treated people bad in the past. You consider this a miracle that's happening for you, to have this love and still have this person with this soul anchor and in stillness. This is all about her getting back to grounding herself in stability and getting that fresh start once again. Maybe she would actually listen and become aware. Remember, I said she don't have no awareness on a soul level. So that's what this in stillness is about. They're trying to get her to just start being more aware of the fact that she's a freaking fallen angel, and that God is like, it's like she's just completely rejecting all of her spiritual gifts. Completely. Hailey Bieber, she's like completely rejecting all of her spiritual gifts. She don't even acknowledge that she's a spiritual being. She probably would laugh at people that talk about spirituality and things like that, I'm telling you. But deep down, it's because she has a wound about it. Deep down, she has a wound about not being protected and not, feeling safe to open up to that and do that. And so now it's hard for her to even believe in God and believe in spirituality and believe in religion and believe in any of those things, because it's always treated her badly. She's always been shunned away from that and laughed at and ridiculed and persecuted for that. So, but they was giving her another chance to anchor herself and ground herself and get the new beginning and actually just see it through this time. She has a hard time seeing things through, even if, other people might not want to help her or be there for her. She still has to do it. She can't just be quick to give up. And that's a karmic wound that she deals with, not being able to see things through and being all scattered in her energy, being all over the place, taking too much on her plate, being exhausted and overwhelmed, not prioritizing her own well-being. She lacks that agency and that self-awareness because she's just all over the place. She has all kind of attachments to people with this release attachments here. It says there's something you need to let go of. It's either a limiting belief, an untruth, or a negative behavior. It's holding you back and keeping you from stepping into your true potential and happiness. So the fact that she can't release those negative emotions and feelings about spirituality and about religion, right, that we know that she has carried on into this current life as Hailey Bieber, she's not really able to stand in her path and in her power and do what it is that she's supposed to be doing. And then we also have strategy and planning. So again, furthermore emphasizing, she lacks the ability to plan, to make goals, to strategize, to do things for herself. She always needs someone else telling her what to do, in control of her, them planning, putting in the hard work, putting in the effort. She always needs someone else to make decisions. And in this past life, we seen the Queen of Pentacles came out. So we know that he was a mama's boy. He was a mama's boy, always listening to what his mommy say, always doing what his mommy say, always like that. That was it. So Hailey Bieber on a soul level lacks that agency, to be able to make plans and actually take action. It says your actions are taking you to a new phase in your spiritual evolution. And it's like they're missing out on a chance to actually evolve spiritually every life. Hailey Bieber is missing out on this chance because she don't understand that she has to do it. She has to put in the work and make the plans and then execute it. Nobody else is coming to save her or do it for her. All right. And then I lastly said, what was the last two that I put? How is it affecting her now? Of course, like, but we kind of already talked about that. But I just definitely asked in terms of her current life, how's it affecting her now? Male, female. She's in a different body that she's not used to being in, so that's uncomfortable having to switch from being in the male body to being in the female body. Deal with female hormones, deal with like all of these different things that females go through. She's having to rebalance those things. Probably deal with certain hormone imbalances, like certain female functions don't work as well. She might, this is TMI, but like her period probably don't come every month. Like she deals with certain things that inconsistencies when it comes to the female body because she's so used to much more comfortable being in the male body and just came from being in a male body. So now she got to readjust. She moves more like a masculine. She has way more, her masculine energy is way more balanced and, or I guess not even balanced, but just heavier than her female energy. So her feminine energy. So she don't really have that. And then we also have biblical and unrequited love. So like I said, she don't believe in the Bible. She don't trust in the Bible. She has wounds surrounding God and the Bible and everything that has been happening. And they're saying that she's been around since then. She saw the rapture. She saw everything happen. She still carries those wounds, bro. And you don't even know and she probably don't even realize that and even know it. That she was around during those times and that, she got certain phobias and fears and things like that she probably deal with from all back then. And then her unrequited love. They're saying that basically in order to restore balance in her love life, basically for the way that she didn't have Justin, even though the path of miracle was opening and it was giving her a chance to, the path have this miracle to have Justin back in her life again so soon. Unfortunately, how it's affecting her now is that she's dealing with unrequited love. Justin don't feel the same way about her. He don't. It's unrequited love because look at this. The dynasty, the dominance, the power, all of that stuff. Yes, she still has it. That ego is still attached to her. She's still living in her ego self, and therefore she's not getting that love that she wants from Justin. Unfortunately, she's in a situation where the love is unrequited and he don't feel the same way about her. And of course that pisses her off. And she probably dealt with this with many past lovers. Like she deals with just lovers who don't really feel the same way about her, and she be head over heels and they're not on the same page. And like I said, with this biblical, she's completely shunned her spirituality, her spiritual gifts, her Christian, like she just don't like she basically just and if she is a Christian, then she's one of those Christian fanatics that's like the Bible, but she don't really understand her spiritual nature and the true nature of spirituality and the Bible and what she's really supposed to be doing and what's really Christ-like. She don't understand that part of it because she's not scared of it, but she has fears and phobias in the way that it has damaged her in the past and the way that she hasn't been embraced, to go down that path. So she wants to ignore that path. All right. And then we have judgments, the Four of Cups, the Four of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Fool, and the Ace of Swords. So Ancestors is basically saying everything I pretty much said. And how this is affecting, her going into the ending of her life. Because I asked, like, will we see her get judgment one day? They're saying that it comes through her love life. It comes through the fact, her judgment comes in other ways. The things that she really wants the most, like I always say, is the things that she cannot have. Right? It's like she constantly has to deal with rejection. It's double rejection here. 444. They say rejection is protection, but in this case, it's like rejection is protection for those people because she's dark with this Queen of Wands. She's all about her sexual nature and using that to take advantage of people. She's attached to the bloodline and the power. Yeah, we know she's attached to some dark stuff in this and her current life as Hailey Bieber. And so that's pretty much they say in the karma and the judgment is that she just doesn't get what she wants. And because she decided to go after this new beginning and start over and be naive and be foolish and be done with the fool here, that up to the day that she dies, she don't get the breakthrough, the person that she wants. She just got to settle. That's it. She settles for whatever it is that she has. And if that means, she gets to have money and she gets to be sexy and she gets to be beautiful and pretty and have all these business deals and be a money mogul and all that stuff, that's all right because she's going to be having sleepless nights. Behind closed doors, she's going to be crying because she can't have the person that she truly loves and she can't have the life that she truly wants. And she's not fulfilling her true life purpose with this judgment here. She's not truly waking up to her true spiritual calling. So I asked about, lastly, how this is going to affect her next incarnation when she come back again. The Devil, the Hermit in reverse, the Empress. This is literally saying she's a fallen angel. Like I said, the devil, the hermit in reverse, and the empress. That's her divine nature, her empress status. She's lost her way. She's gone off of her path from that, and so she got to go. She got to go spend some time now. They tried to just send her right back and do things. Now she got to go deal with a couple different incarnations. She got to deal with some eternal damnation, and then she got to deal with being a bird, then a wasp, and she got to deal with all of that stuff first. A couple of little transformations before they can go ahead and bring her back. But as far as I can see with this next chance, I see Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Four of Wands. I think she's going to be a masculine again. I think she's going to be a masculine again. I don't think she's going to be a feminine again this time. They're going to challenge her again with to go back to that with this Knight of Pentacles and Queen of Swords in reverse, to go back and see if she can make the right decisions as a male again. Like, I don't know why they thought that it was a good idea to send her as a female and see if that would help, but this time I don't see her coming back the next time she comes back. It's gonna be long ways from now. I'm telling you, like, it's slow to her coming back. It's gonna be slow progress made, because she's not her soul is not, making those quantum leaps and evolving and growing. So it's gonna be, she's gonna continue with that slow progress, and they're not gonna bring her as a woman. They're gonna bring her back as a man again. They're gonna see what decision that she makes again. She's gonna have the same exact family, the same exact family members, same old karmic people once again. And they're going to see if she chooses to be cold and bitter towards them and go after what it is that she's supposed to do as far as her spirituality and her spiritual nature, and stepping into her empress status and letting go of those toxicities and habits and addictions. Because she's going with this devil, they might make her struggle with being an addict again. Yeah, and having certain addictions with gambling and lust and sexual nature and all of that stuff. She's going to deal with those same vices again, and they're going to see what she do with it. But first, she got to go down there for a bit. So that's what I have in terms of Hailey Bieber and her past life reading and her connection with, Justin and his secret little love affair and all that behind closed doors. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Love y'all.